Within the void there is only the darkness, the endless shadows that turn with the tides. Murky blackness and deafening silence. The monsters that lurk there are twisted abominations that prey upon the weak. The shockwaves of sound and struggle disturb the endless black, the melee of fang and claw, the scent of blood in the water. From the void they come, their endless circling through the infinite black, their eternal penance. They come as predators of predators. They are beings of ancient provenance that rule the depths, that strike from the dark. Monsters made manifest of grey skin, jagged teeth, and eyes of midnight black. As the ancient beasts of terror ruled the depths of the seas, so too do the Carcharadons control the endless void at the edges of our galaxy. From the depthless quiet, darkness there, and nothing more, they strike without mercy, without respite, to harry the foes of the Emperor before returning to their circling, ever circling through the depths. They are the stuff of nightmares, of savagery, of brutality. Theirs is the legacy of a millennia of war and isolation. They are as cold, quiet, and deadly as the vacuum of space in which they inhabit. With chain axe and pistol do they take what is theirs by ancient right and eviscerate the enemies of the Emperor. All under the silent gaze of the predatory white crescent of the great Carcharadon, master of the void, spiller of blood, and bringer of swift, merciless slaughter. In the name of their forgotten one, in the name of the Void Father, and in the name of Tyberos, they are the warriors of the Outer Dark, the Space Sharks, the Carcharadons Astra. Welcome one and all, I am Exile, and for better or worse you have stumbled your way onto my video detailing the Carcharadons Astra in Warhammer 40k. They are, in my opinion, peak 40k. Mysterious bloodlines, dubious practices, suspicious alliances, all wrapped up in a transhuman killing machine. They're awful and I love them. Therefore, what follows is an introduction to the Carcharadons. So do enjoy the experience, whether you are learning or simply listening while you paint your models. Side note, a few people have waited overly long for this entry and I apologize. I did prepare it a long time ago and upon review despised everything that I had done. So this is rewrite and re-record number... I'm not sure. Be prepared now. Steel your hearts and gird your minds as we enter the most horrific place imaginable. The place where hope goes to die and where thirsting gods rack the souls of billions while directing madness on the stage of our galaxy as easily as puppeteers pull on strings. Welcome to the 41st millennium. Space Marines are oft venerated and lauded as humanity's glorious protectors, the saviors of 1,000 worlds. Ceramite armor gleaming in the light, dazzling from polished pauldrons, while the grateful masses profess their gratitude by the millions. Figures of legend, of salvation, heroes, to put it bluntly. Many of them may even deserve these honors and enact their campaigns of war with the good of Imperial citizens at the forefront of their minds. Names such as Dante, Calgar, Cantor. For some, there is no greater honor than safeguarding the citizens for whom they bear the burden of protecting. The Carcharadons Astra are not among these Space Marines. They are in many ways the truest form of the Astartes. For what is a Space Marine at its heart? Strip away the laurels and golden crowns, the indoctrinated loyalty, the yearning for glory, the obligations of honor. You have a killer, a human child, taken, transformed, and trained to deal death to the enemy. The Carcharadons are brutal killers, savage warriors. Theirs is not to defend humans, but to defend the Imperium itself. They neither beg for praise nor demand gratitude. Theirs is the province of destruction and death to the alien, the traitor, and the renegade. To this, they sail the void between the stars, the endless black and the outer dark, to hunt, seek, and destroy piratical raiders, long-forgotten Xenos menaces, and intergalactic predators. On the rare occasions that they do descend on Imperial worlds, it is for men and material to fuel their efforts before launching to the stars once more. They are the stuff of nightmares, and the Imperium is lucky to have them on their side. Appearance and culture. Pale of skin, black of eye, garbed in armor of dark grey, the very presence of these warriors strikes fear into the noblest of hearts. Their teeth are filed into points, in an echo of the predator after which the space sharks take their name. In time, members of their chapter even develop grey tentacle scabs across sections of their skin. They festoon themselves with trophies of teeth harvested from enemies slain, and decorate their armor with exile markings, pictograms and patterns to celebrate victories over their prey. And yet, many who see them in action will not see these details. For the Carcharadons have a thirst for blood, a preference to close the distance between the foe and lay about with chain axe and sword to eviscerate opponents at close range. Often is the time that the Carcharadons' dark grey armor is so thoroughly drenched in the blood of their foes that the original colours hardly show through. Yet they are not berserkers. They do not suffer the red thirst as the Sons of the Angel, nor lose themselves within the throes of battle as the Sons of Angron do. They walk the precipice between battle-hungry and tactical with masterful precision. They see no loss of honor to withdraw and strike back when their prey is in a weaker position. Honor is a dead thing to them. They will do whatever is necessary to achieve victory, all while in an unnerving silence. Quote, "The silence was coveted by the Carcharadon Astra, a sacred thing that spoke of the chapter's long exile. It emphasized the oblivion of the void, a nothingness that every member of the chapter sought to apply to their individual self. From the first moments of induction, individuality and ego were stripped away like faulty parts that no longer served the functionality of the whole. Names were forgotten, replaced with coded number designates until a Void Brother proved his worth to the chapter, to Rangu, and to the Forgotten One. Self-sacrifice and dedication came before all else. Such denial of individual importance staved off a multitude of heresies. Pride, greed, envy, such things were without meaning in the outer dark. They led only to death. Such is life within the void between stars. They operate without the security of a single homeworld, or decent Imperial supply chains. Despite the best efforts of their nomad predation pattern, a fleet-based chapter tactic from the days of the Great Crusade, one that allows for extended campaigns among the stars due to its tenet of self-reliance, they often take to the field of battle in mismatched armor. Different marks of power armor are cobbled together to cover up irreparable damage done to their equipment. They are a chapter of salvages and patch-ups. This, for many, raises an eyebrow at how every company captain still bears the skull and lightning heraldry of the Emperor's pacification wars, rather than the more modern Aquila. They are brutal, efficient, cunning slaughterers that speak not with words but with actions, and repentance is their goal. For, while guarded against outsiders, within the chapter there are no secrets. From the moment a battle brother ascends, he has access to all the knowledge and history of the chapter, should he choose to plumb those depths. And the truth is that the Carcharadons serve in exile, the one known as the Forgotten One dismissed them to the void at the edge of the galaxy. There they must atone for their failures and disappointments, forever bound to serve the light of the Imperium in the darkness. They forget neither their origins nor their duty, for it is to Rangu, the Void Father, the Emperor of Mankind, that they attribute their loyalty, even if the Imperium has forgotten them on occasion. Hence why their internal philosophies are predicated on a deep thought and spiritualism. When not preserved in cryostasis vaults during their long pilgrimages through the stars, Battle Brothers are encouraged to embrace meditation. They will find the void within their souls to mirror the void outside the stars. They will consider their actions as they earn repentance for their sins in the eyes of the Emperor and their Forgotten One. Quick addendum here. Why do the Carcharadons call the Emperor Rangu? That is because their culture is heavily based on Polynesian Maori culture, and after some brief research, it seems that in Maori legend, the mythical Skyfather is named Rangi. Also, within the books, Carcharadon Battle Brothers will greet each other with the Kia Ore, which is very similar to Kia Ora from Te Reo Maori. Although I will confess I have little to no experience with either Maori culture or Te Reo Maori language, so if anyone with first-hand experience could confirm or correct me, I would be grateful. Let us always remember, never take a YouTuber's words as gospel truth, guys. And while we are on a lighter note of this entry, it should be noted how heavy the Carcharadons go on the shark references. Their dreadnoughts, their chapter ancients interred in living sarcophagi, only to be awoken in the direst of circumstances, are clad in white. Literally, great whites. Also, in one of their books, there was a land raider named Maxima Alba, which, although my Latin is rusty, roughly translates to Great White again. But you can't blame Brabby McNiven. Better to name things after great whites rather than nurse sharks or lemon sharks. It would lose some of the grim darkness of it all, wouldn't it? Addendum ended. Notable campaigns. Every chapter within the Imperium has a list of their countless campaigns and hard-earned victories. Rolls of battle honours, enormous rooms of battle trophies, legends and tales told across the Imperium of their heroism and their savagery in equal measure. The Carcharadons are not most chapters. To them, glory is nothing. Only in action do they take satisfaction. That being the case, many of their victories have gone unsung. From driving back hive tendrils of Tyranids from entering the galaxy, or suppressing waking Necron tomb worlds. However, on the rare occasions they do enter battle with other witnesses, they are known to be among the most savage of saviors. The Blood Angels owe them a debt during the Seventh Black Crusade as they emerged from the depths to lay waste to the armies of chaos. Quote, "And lo, the grey-clad came from the outer night, and their jagged maw did swallow the stars, and their black gaze did mirror the void of oblivion. Their pale shadows fell upon the servants of the Skulled One with a great fury from the darkness, unseen as the beast that lurks beneath the black waters, death for death, blood for blood. Thus were the sons of Sanguinius brought respite, and did turn back upon their pursuers. And so were the damned traitors of the false gods driven unto their ruin. During the Badab War, they came as strangers, broadcasting ancient loyalist identity codes, and while not trusted to begin with, they soon earned their reputation and respect among their fellow chapters, before returning to the endless dark from whence they came. Alongside these sparse events, they were also a member of the Pentarchy of Blood. For those of you new to the hobby, the Pentarchy of Blood was a coalition of 5 chapters of Space Marines, under the orders of the High Lords of Terror, to fight the War of the False Primarch. During this, one of the most terrible wars to have been seen since the Horus Heresy, 11 chapters turned from the Imperium, and a mere 5 were assembled to end them and their pernicious intentions. The details are buried, hidden away. The truth of the matter is lost to the sands of time and the Imperial suspicion and secrecy. All that is known is that 5 stood against 11 and won. A pious individual may assume that the God Emperor himself guided the Loyalists. Others may merely believe that the 5 chapters, the Carcharadons Astra, Charnel Guard, Death Eagles, Flesh Terrors, and Red Talons, were simply overwhelmingly skilled at dealing death and destruction to the enemies of mankind. And that, my friends, is how skilled the Carcharadons are when it comes to warfare. The biggest and the oldest of Space Marines. Space Marines are transhuman warriors of terrifying design. Enormous, overly muscled behemoths implanted with a variety of organs. Stronger, faster, more enduring than any other part of humanity, their lives span the centuries, and because of this they only die succumbing to the wounds of battle, rather than the ravages of time. However, do the Carcharadons Astra have the largest and the oldest of Space Marines? Possibly. The nature of the 40k setting is a sandbox full of potential characters to be forged from its depths. The sheer number of characters who are, in one way or another, distinguished from their peers by dint of age, size, or skill is already a large list. And yet, in a universe as large as 40k, we're not going to see definitive size comparisons, nor birth certificates to judge the age of an individual. Thus, we must rely on tales told by the unreliable narrator, where personal experiences cloud the truth of the matter. In short, maybe, maybe not. However, the Carcharadons do have a contender for both the largest and the oldest of Space Marines. Tyberos the Red Wake is the chapter master of the Carcharadons. His moniker is not attributed to the colour of his power armour, but rather that in the blur of battle there is only a red wake left behind him, along with the last gasps of the dying. There is conjecture as to whether or not Tyberos has been a single Astartes or merely a title, as Chapter Master Nehat Nev of the Ashen Claws has to question whether or not he is the same Tyberos he has spoken with before. It is undeniable that Tyberos is enormous, but maybe not as enormous as he is rumoured to be. So if you have heard that Tyberos wears altered dreadnought armour, this is a lie. It is stated, however, that he uses tactical dreadnought armour, which is a type of Terminator armour. However, it is mentioned that this armour has been extensively modified to match his enormous size, making him at least a head taller than his battle brothers in Terminator armour. He is certainly not alone in his height. Other enormous Space Marines, such as Pausanias Lysane, used salvaged tactical dreadnought armour. And if you dig through the stories, you can find a veritable plethora of possibilities of oversized Astartes. However, Tyberos absolutely stands as an excellent contender for the largest Space Marine. And if you make him cross the Rubicon, then perhaps some proper dreadnought armour could be called for, but still unlikely. As for the oldest Space Marine, again, possibly. Dante is unbelievably ancient. His legacy of war has spanned a millennia and a half of bloodshed, toil, and sacrifice. Yet, Tekarohangi may well be far older. Tekarohangi is the chief librarian of the Carcharadons, and according to rumours within the chapter, is only 3 generations removed from the wandering ancestors, the first to have gone into the void alone, at the behest of the Forgotten One. Considering the generations of Space Marines, this would make him ancient beyond belief. However, Carcharadons also use cryostasis during long journeys through the Outer Dark, which would reduce the ages of these generations significantly, yet does not change the fact that he would be incredibly old. We also know that he is at least 1,400 years old, as his twin brother, the chaplain Tangata Manu, hunted an item known as the Dark Glass for at least that long. But then again, this is Warhammer 40k. Retcons, clarifications, and contradictions do abound, so until it's canonically stated unequivocally how old he is, do take everything with a pinch of salt. The Edicts of Exile. In shame do they serve. For repentance do they ravage the foes of the Imperium, forever circling in their endless patrol through the void of space, the areas forgotten by the light of the Emperor. Yet maintaining supply chains in the Outer Dark is an impossible task, and an unwelcome one, for self-reliance is the key to the chapter's survival. In that effort, they were granted Remit Unbound in order to facilitate their wars. This includes 2 tithes, the red and the grey. The latter is straightforward. In their hunts through forgotten or unexplored space, they discover archaeotech, lost remnants of SDCs, and forgotten prizes. In exchange for these gifts, the Carcharadons meet with the Mechanicus and receive war gear and technology, be it Terminator armor, tanks, or ammunition. So while the Carcharadons have remained aloof from much of the Imperium, the Mechanicus has continuously worked with them, albeit in a rather quiet way, throughout the millennia. As the Harvester Prime, the second company captain oversees the transfer of goods. The Reaper Prime of the third company is the overseer of something far more brutal, the Red Tithe. For the Carcharadons, it is not merely their supply of aspirants that is meagre. The constant demands of war and the attrition rate of failed aspirants does require large numbers of young boys, yes, but it is the demands of the fleet that require far more than that. For their flotillas are not driven by Imperial crews, born and raised in the dedication of their service, volunteers for the brave cause of the chapter. Their crews are slaves, harvested as the Red Tithe, gathered up from worlds they descend upon and pressed into service for the rest of their lives. Galley slaves, munition workers, chapter serfs, even bridge crew are gathered up and forced into a slavery that ends only in death. But does this bother the Imperium at large? Absolutely not. Not only would they more than likely view it as a necessary evil if they knew of it at all, but the administration of the Imperium is a nightmare unto itself. Planets, colonies, and expeditions disappear without a trace all the time, swallowed up by the warp, by Xenos raiders, by chaos cults. Throne Krieg itself disappeared for, 500 years? I will check that value before I upload this video. Its tithe were undelivered, and the Administratum simply decided that it was not worth reclaiming. The Carcharadons take full advantage of this and leave no witnesses. Any citizens of the world selected by the Reaper Prime who are not direct servants of the Emperor are press-ganged aboard their ships, leaving only ghosts in their wake. However, these actions are not necessarily enough to maintain themselves throughout the ages. Therein lies their dealing with a truly renegade chapter, the Ashen Claws. Their tale will wait for another time, but suffice to say that this chapter, whose loyalty is only to themselves, skirt the edges of the Imperium out of survival. Neither loyalist nor heretic, this chapter serves only their own continued survival, forever raiding the borders of civilization, but never too much to call attention to themselves. The Carcharadons and the Ashen Claws have traded on multiple occasions. Armor and gene seed from the Carcharadons may be given in exchange for a fresh tithe of recruits to fill the bays of the Nomad Predation fleet and create new aspirants for the chapter. Close ties these chapters do indeed share, and perhaps a little more than that. I intended to include the gene seed of the Carcharadons in this entry, I researched, I took quotes aplenty, and recorded it all in my previous version, and yet I'm now realizing that there is too much to say about the gene line of the Carcharadons. So I'm going to split this entry into two. Their mysterious Primarch, their Forgotten One, their history and close ties with the Ashen Claws, the ash blindness that forms a part of their initiation ceremony. So many things to say that they deserve their own entry. For now, let it stand that nothing is confirmed. In all official records, their Primarch remains unnamed. Their gene seed is not stated, merely speculated. Be that of the Crow, the Red Angel, or the Lord of Night. As we wrap up this brief introduction to the most savage, brutal, and deadly of Astartes, I leave you with this. They were dispatched into the outer darkness upon that first day of exile, there to ravage the foes of mankind until their final atonement. Their Forgotten One gave them remit unbound, to set about the traitor, the alien, and the renegade without mercy, and to harrow them in their places of strength. So began their long hunt. They hunt still. And if you made it this far, thank you for listening. Please do feel free to drop a like, comment, or a subscribe. I love to hear from you, and constructive criticism is always welcome, provided it is constructive. That way I get better, and you get better videos. And if you know someone who may like this video, please do send it along to them. I'd love to grow a little bit more, and I'll be showing my gratitude with giveaways when I reach subscriber milestones. Now do enjoy your day or night, and I hope you've enjoyed some escapism from reality. For that's why we're here, isn't it? Until next time.